Hello there. I'm here today at the Outreach Center with Barb Barber. She's the executive director here. And we're sitting in a play therapy room, which we're going to be talking about a bit. The Outreach Center is one of our local partners who we are very pleased to support. When Crossroads people hear the Outreach Center, we tend to think of shoes and love in the laces. That has been one of the significant ways that we have been working with you over the last few years. So I wanted to take some time today just to have you, Barb, share with us some of the more significant things that you are doing in our community. You've shared that there's been a bit of change over the last little while here, so maybe you could just expand on that and let us know what are the other services that you offer here.
Sure, and happy to be here with you.
Thanks.
So one of the biggest changes that's been going on is we have amalgamated the Women's Outreach and Suicide Information Education Services. We've been co-located for 6, 7, maybe 8 years. And so deciding to amalgamate the two agencies, we are now what is called the Outreach Center. And amalgamating our agencies together has been a blessing, and we're able to expand some of the stuff that we've already been doing, but now we're just able to do it in a better form. So what we have done is, when you look at all of the programs and services that go on in our building, we've broken it down into 4 pillars. And so there's domestic violence, homelessness, suicide, and poverty. But when you actually say those words, they're not very positive to talk about.
No.
They create a lot of shame for people, and they're just very heavy. And so wanting to really create that hope for people that reach out for help, when we're talking about the 4 pillars, we talk about healthy relationships, because that's what we want people and families to have. We talk about mental health and emotional well-being, because that's also what we want people to have. Housing stability, and taking people out of homelessness, and then self-sufficiency, really helping people to move beyond poverty and the issues that revolve around poverty. So all of our programs revolve around more than one of those pillars, and they all interact with each other. So we're really excited if that's a really hopeful way to express this is what we do in the community.
So today we are sitting in a play therapy room filled with many, many different toys. Barb, could you share with us a little bit about what these toys are for and what is the purpose of a play therapy room?
You bet. So this is a little bit of a wonderland for some kids, and this is one of the 3 rooms that we have. And so a lot of the toys have been specifically chosen due to what they can accomplish through play therapy. And so for kids to be able to discuss their feelings and put a label on them and a name on them, and they can't do that, but they can act things out through play, and that's the way that they can process them. And so a lot of our toys are things that you would see, in Walmart or, and then you have some toys that, because we do have a little gun and a little knife and little beer bottles and little handcuffs. And so we really want to, or even the police station.
Right.
And so we really wanted to be able to provide kids the opportunity to connect with something, to be able to play out the trauma that they have experienced. And I've been with the agency, with the Outreach Center, for 22 years, almost 23. And although I'm so blessed and fortunate to never have experienced that growing up, it never ceases to amaze me what our kids go through, and what our kids in our own communities, and possibly your neighbor, and possibly your coworkers' kids. it never ceases to amaze me, some of the trauma that kids actually feel. And so we've had a number of kids come through that have done really, really well and are able to work through that trauma. And some kids it takes longer, some kids it doesn't, depends on the severity. And, you know, we even had one little guy, and he would constantly choke out the stuffed animals. And so to the point where he was then able to say, this is what's happening to me. And so it breaks my heart that there's our little people experiencing that in our community. But I'm also blessed to be part of the healing process for some of those kids, and that when they grow up to be youth and adults, then they have that shot to be healthy adults and have those healthy relationships.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that has tears in my eyes. Yeah, we are so fortunate to have you and your staff in our community. And it's heartbreaking to know that this is a reality for children and youth in our city. But there is hope. So we are grateful for that. So this is called the Dragonfly Centre. Is there a specific reason for that?
There is. About 8 years ago, we started working on it wasn't called the Dragonfly Centre at that time, but it was the concept of a children's healing center. And the therapist that we had on staff at the time was instrumental in getting this going. And this was her passion, was to really help kids heal. And so she had her story and the trauma that she went through, and it was just swept under the rug and not dealt with and not acknowledged, and caused some real significant issues for her as she was older. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to come out the other side. And so she always liked the dragonfly as it represented empowerment and coming through hardships and finding your joy. And dragonflies have been around for a long time. And so they have been able to endure all the hardships that life can throw at them, and they still fly around and transform.
Yeah.
So so that's the significance of the dragonfly.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. I hope that from our conversation today with Barb, that you have gained more of an understanding of the importance of the Outreach Center in our community and the significant work that they are doing with individuals in our city who all have a story. We know that God sees all those stories, and we are privileged to be able to support you in tangible ways. Crossroads does support the Outreach Center. It's very important that we support them with our prayers as well. And you'll be able to see a few ways that you can be praying for the Outreach Center in the days ahead. And we ask that you would do that. But for now, I say thank you very much, Barb.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure to sit with you again. And thank you, Crossroads, for watching us today.